us. I think we still have people that are coming in. As you guys know, these are the Sanato Tijarat talks, where we have a strategic pillar each week. We go through enlightenment, empowerment, employment, and entrepreneurship. And today we have Temur Malik Saab under the enlightenment pillar, where we'll be discussing investment management. And Temur Saab is the author of Rethink Money, Reclaim Your Life, a chartered member of the UK's Chartered Institute for Securities and Investment, and has over 20 years of experience at firms such as BlackRock and asset management. And he specializes in property, pension, and stock market investing, and is dedicated to making financial education practical and accessible. Temur also frequently speaks at universities, charities, and professional forums on simple, structured financial planning. We've had a bit of a break over the last sort of few weeks with Ramzan, and so Jazakallah everyone for sort of bearing with us in that period, and we're back on now, and inshallah, we'll have the weekly talks going again. So due to interest of time, the most of I'll pass it on to you. Just before I do, there is a poll that goes out uh,
Mhm.
probably 10-15 minutes before the end. So maybe about half past, where if you guys, if everyone who's actually listening on the call, please, if you can give us your feedback, it helps us future plan and ensure that we are bringing the most value from our team to you guys. Just a quick rule. If everyone can please keep their cameras off and mics on mute until it's time for sort of the questions, and then you can type your questions in, and if we have the time, we'll allow you to ask verbally as well. So Jazakallah Tamosa, over to you.
Ji, Jazakallah Asham Saab for introduction, and it's my pleasure and honor to be with all the brothers here. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to all the brothers who have joined. So, today's presentation, as Shamsab has rightly said, I am member of the Islamic investments and commerce team within Sanato Tijarat, and within our team we have um, Mansoor Saab, Wasim Saab, and Khalid Saab, and myself, and also Musawwir Saab. So, what is our primary role is to help and share what Islamic finance means with all the Jamaat members who are joining here or who are going to watch the recordings later on. And for today's session, I'm presenting a very important topic, which is kind of a touch everyone, all of us, our life, and it's about loans and borrowing, and the costly mistakes people normally make and how to avoid them. So, because we have brothers who are probably at different levels in terms of their in life journey and understanding with the debts. So I gonna try to keep things very simple, and then whatever the questions are, we can take it in the end. And for that purpose, the way I am structuring next 20 minutes or 25 minutes is to have an introduction, a slight introduction about the topic, and then I will share some case studies, real case studies, and the mistakes made in those situations. And then how we can plan better. And then in the end, we will go through the question and answer session. A first disclaimer, this presentation is not financial advice. What I'm sharing here is just observations, some past examples, and for educational purposes. If you are going to make any financial decisions, please seek out the financial advice before any of your major decisions. So I'm going to ask attendees and all the brothers who have joined some questions, and they can type in the chat if that's okay, their answer. So My first question is, if you need 15,000 pounds urgently for some of the urgent needs, what would you do? So you can type in the letter, and rightly said, Khalisab is pray, which is very, very important. That's where we should be starting. And then some of the common options where people go and look for this is whether to take loan or use savings or borrow from family and friends, or it could be something else. Yeah, so bank, Ismail Saab is saying borrow from family and friends, use savings. Brilliant, brilliant. So that's the thing. When we think about a debt, a loan, um, we all have a different way of looking at things, and we have uh, different answer how we're going to solve this problem based on our situation, based on our understanding. I like to share some of the facts from UK. Whether we like or not like, a staggering number 84% of UK residents have some sort of loans, whether it is a credit card loan, whether it is a mortgage. So we live in a credit-based society and consumer market, and the economy works with credit. So one another way, staggering 84% of people have loans. And this will be the case for most of us as well. And on average, it takes 20 plus years to repay the loans we take. And unfortunately, 1 in 4 adults have less than £100 savings. And more importantly, the money is the number one cause of stress in people's life. And these are all research backed facts. And that's why it is very important to pay attention to when we think about, for whatever reason, we need more money, we think about taking more loans because we are already in a position where the answer is to borrow. And when we are borrowing, we have to be careful because we already don't have enough savings. In this regards to loans, lenders, and borrowers, this is the triangle. Quran has provided us some guidance in this regard. So in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Ta'ala advises us that when you take or give loan for a fixed period, write it down and involve witnesses. So when we are taking loans, this is one of the principles have advised by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to us, that whenever we are taking loans, someone mentioned that they will go to family and friends and ask for the loan. And this is the one of the main principle that Allah Ta'ala is telling us. Secondly, if for whatever reason the borrower is in hardship, then Allah Ta'ala has also guided the debtor, the person who is lending the money, is that if the debtor is in hardship, grant them time until ease. And if you forgive it, it is like a charity. It's even better for you. And finally, for the borrowers, Allah Ta'ala also guide them that, oh, you who believe, fulfill your contracts. So that is one of the guiding principles when we are thinking about taking loans, that we must have the intention and the ability to pay it back. Somehow I have this line on my screen. I'm trying to Okay, here you go. That's good. Right. So again, I have a question for all the brothers. Do you think loans are good or bad? If you can type in chat, what do you think comes first in your mind? Yes, very bad, absolutely. Bad if is interest is on. Good and bad. Good can be bad, depends upon circumstances. Absolutely good if you are helping someone. Excellent, excellent. So Jazakallah for sharing your thoughts in the chat. What it tells us that we all have a different meaning about loans and debts in our mind. And so how we decide about it, if it's a good or bad. So obviously we have to go back to the religion and the guidance provided to us. One of the thing and one of the principle is from Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, hadith, that the reward of deeds are according to the intentions, and everybody will get reward for what they have intended. So intention become very important as well. With what intention the loan has been taken or loan has been given. In financial terms, on very similar lines as I have shared some Quranic principles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shared with us and the hadith. If we think of loans in terms of good and bad loans, generally in financial terms, the good loans are generally have a low interest rate. And when you are getting them, you know what is going to be your repayment plan. And it can also use to build asset like buying your home or maybe taking a business loan. And it has a clear end date, especially if you're going to a bank. There is always a agreement in place as Allah Ta'ala has guided us in the Quran. And time works for us because we know what are the expectations and how we're going to address it. Unlike good loans, in financial terms, the bad loans are where there is a high interest charge to the borrower. And when someone is taking a bad loan because it's a high interest and they're already perhaps in a difficulty, their first approach is to pay it on minimum payments. And also that means most of the time this loan is taken for consumption with no clear ending, and then time is working against you because these are high interest loans and they don't follow the structure of good loans like a mortgage, a student loan where everything is written and there is a path available clearly to us. And as a result, based on if it's a good or bad loan, the same £10,000 borrowed can cost you 11,000 or 30,000 plus. So that's why it is very important to pay attention when you are borrowing and seek advice on that. And for these purposes, I have picked up two case studies and I will go over quickly on them, and it relates to the situation I have seen before. And one of the example of bad loans is shark loans, and you can Google it, the term, what it means. So here is a real story, or obviously the name is changed for privacy reason. Adam, who is a taxi driver, a family person, and he he was working but had some health issues, so he been off work. And during that period, there was no income coming in. And after a few weeks, when he is uh, back on the job, he need to renew his license. He need to pay insurance for his taxi, and also there is no income coming in at that stage because he wasn't working. So he immediately need some money. So he borrowed 800. He's looking for 800 pound. He asked around to his colleagues in his the business, and he been advised to speak to someone, Andy, who is also a taxi driver, who turned out to be a friendly taxi driver. And he said, you don't have to worry about it. I'll help you. All you need to do is pay 100 pound per week to pay back your loan. And there was no written contract how much interest Adam was paying for it. And the amount was given to him and used. However, what happened, the all the friendliness and this Andy, as Adam was in difficulty already in meeting his expenses, he was struggling to pay even 100 pound a week. And as a result, Andy's tone changed. And he started asking him to pay every Monday. And in not only the amount he has borrowed, but also 30% staggering interest. And that has added further stress for Adam when he took this small loan. He had to work long hours, no way out. How he gonna be paying his loan because he is not able to, he already have so many debts before, and then he has borrowed more, and eventually this loan is quite a bad loan with that high interest rate. So what should he do? He didn't share this with his wife as well, and because he was the breadwinner for the family, and when uh, but as the things change, he became very stressful, and wife insisted to ask what's happening, and he did mention, and that changed the environment at home as well, and it became very stressful there. And when he was struggling with it, someone knocked on the door, and that has created a fear for them that it's basically the lender is asking back for the money. Now, in desperate move, he looked around and asked around what he should do, and eventually he was been advised to speak to Citizen Advice Helpline, who put him in touch based on his situation to Stop Loan Shark Helpline. This Stop Loan Sharks helpline is available in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. So if you Google that term, you will find it. And what they did is they looked at the situation, gathered all the details, and although it was a really a bad type of loan, he still have to pay back the original loans with the condition. And also they investigated the lender and prosecuted because they had many complaints about the same person, the taxi driver, who was giving out loans and then charging very high interest, and it was an illegal activity. So in order to avoid it, Adam should have taken advice early on that could have saved him to find all the other venues available, either in terms of good good loans or what government help is available in his situation when he was unemployed. So taking an advice early on is very, very important to avoid these costly mistakes. So case studies two, Emma Saab, who is employed, and between husband and wife, they are earning 50,000 pound, which means the take home salary is 3,300. And their expenses are going well, not high, very high savings. They have some cash available, and an emergency situation arrived where Amasab's father has been critically ill and has to be hospitalized. Now he is being the elder sibling. He has to jump into the situation and take care of it. And he traveled back to Pakistan, and then for a few weeks he was there. And during that period, he has to take loans because he didn't have enough savings. And as a result, uh, he took credit card loans because that was the easiest way to pay the hospital bills. And and the impact was that he was now in debt for 15,000 pound. He has to, in order to deal with this situation further, when he is back, his father was thankfully back home. And in order to meet his obligations of 50,000 loans, he has to borrow more because his income was fixed and there wasn't any cushion to pay back loans. And the credit card, for the credit card bills, he was paying minimum amounts. Unfortunately, with that situation, it took Amasab 10 years to clear his loans, and he hasn't spoken to anyone to take advice what to do about it. And he was on minimum payments for his debts. And as a result, over those 10 years, he has to pay 37,000 pounds. So that 15,000 pound loans or 10,000 pound on credit card become 37,000 pound in 10 years. So he has to pay nearly 4 times of the amount he borrowed from the credit cards. And not only that, it caused the financial stress because his earnings were not able to cover all the outgoings, including the credit card payments. And of course, he has taken loans from family and friends. Now, for that loan, although they've been nice, but a couple of them were asking when he's going to be paying back. So that also added a social pressure for him in his social circle. And then in order to find solution, he has to work overtime as well, while wife is working part-time as well, having 3 kids. So the three costly mistakes that happen in both cases, in Adam's case and Amasab case, is that they haven't not really planned for emergencies. And when there is no plan for emergencies, because emergency will happen, do happen for all of us. Uh, we don't know when it's going to happen, when the trial will come from Allah. We don't know, but we need to be prepared and seek guidance and pray to Allah for that. And secondly, when there is no backup plan, then what happen? Whatever the easiest type of money available, people try to grab that. And in this case, it was bad loans. In Adam's case, he has taken a loan from a uh, professional shark loan lender, and that caused him even further trouble. And for Amasab, it was the credit card loans and also from family and friends, although he borrowed from bank later on as well. So they made hasty choices because they have not planned for emergencies. And then very importantly, when they were taking loans, they unfortunately they have never thought how difficult it's gonna be to pay back loans. So these were the three costly mistakes. And on top of that, what I feel was the most expensive thing was that Amasab, it has costed him 10 years of his life that followed. How he has managed affairs during that time, how he has managed his family affairs, his social affairs, and paying back all the debts he had. So how could these costly mistakes be avoided? Again, as a MD Muslim, the first protocol, and Khalid rightly mentioned, is to pray Allah and seek guidance that Allah Ta'ala help us to 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 guide us in a right way and in a way that we can stand firm in difficult moments when it comes. And also, uh, the very, very important things lesson from both of case studies is that both of them and nearly majority of people in UK don't have any emergency savings built up. So even Hazur Ayyadallah Ta'ala bin Nasrul Aziz has advised us to keep food stocks at home. So when there is some sort of emergency, it doesn't impact us at that time. So same principle is in financial terms as well. We all should, this is generally advised to all of us, is to have a 3 to 6 month of expenses available. When we are acquiring debts, this is something lender look at as well, and it is a very important thing to keep in mind for the future. And Amazon and Adam could have avoided it by making sure that their total debt payments and borrowings are not more than 30% of their income, which means 1/3 of their income maximum going towards repaying loans or and because there are going to be life expenses, there are going to be other costs as well. So if we manage or keep this benchmark in our mind, or if they have kept this benchmark in mind, this should have helped them to manage their debts a better way. And of course, one of the principles Islam has taught is to live within, we should live within our means, which means spend less than we earn. And I understand that it's not always possible, especially with the cost of living going up, and then earnings are not going up, and to match that expenses, and the inflation rate is have been higher as well. But if you think about 5 years ago or 10 years ago, the earnings we had, and now the earnings have gone up. And with the earnings going up and with the inflation as well, the cost of living has gone up. But generally, this is more of a discipline as well. And as Islam is guiding us as well to spend less than, it is a discipline to be learned and can be learned with some practice. And finally, very, very important thing is to seek professional advice. And it could be a financial advisor, it could be speaking to citizen advice or speaking to the debt charities as well. Please always seek the financial advice before taking any loans or making any big financial decisions. One of the things that I want to wrap up for this case study is that 37,000 pounds that Amazon have to pay over 10 years, what that money could have done for Amazon if he had planned things well and followed the um avoiding these costly mistakes. One of their goal was to buy their own home. Now, this is just a one scenario based on their own goals. If they had been in a good position, they have invested the same amount over 10 years. And because their goal was to buy their home, first home, we have something called lifetime ISA. This is a kind of a saving account where if you can put up to 4,000 pounds annually, and then government put 25% into it, which means 4,000 become 5,000. And this money can be used as a deposit for your first home. And if that money has been invested over 10 years in for example, stock market, that could have been 150,000 pound resulted in. So 37,000 pound over 10 year could have become 150,000 pound, which means it has not only helped them to buy their own home, but also helped them elsewhere. And it also mean it give them peace of mind, emergencies covered, and they have bought their home. So Jazakallah for listening. It was, I understand it was very quick presentation, but I want to wrap up saying thanks for joining us here. I am happy to take any questions. The one final thing is, because we are speaking about the debts, with the grace of Allah, I have published my first book, which is available on Amazon, Rethink Money, Reclaim Your Life, which is a financial education book. And for all the members, they can download the book chapter on managing debts for free by scanning the QR code or going on that link. The book is also available on Amazon. And on this resources QR code, or if you follow the link tree, sorry, just a moment. If you go there, I have also added many resources, including Hazur Ayyad Allah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz answers to some of questions about finances, as well as the sessions done by Khala Saab, Mansoor Saab, and Wasim Saab for easy access for members. So this is basically a financial education resources I put together in one link, and you can easily access them. And I'm sure if you go through them, you will find some useful information, and that will help you to make informed decisions in the future. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah Musab for that engaging talk. Well put together. I'll get straight into the questions as we only have around 10 minutes before we have to close. Um, so a few questions have come in. Are ISAs halal? I'll start off with that one. I guess that
Uh,
be dependent.
Khalid Saab is here as well, so I'll share my thoughts and then I'll let Khalid Saab jump in as well. So there are Sharia compliant investment products available on stock market, and these are these are the companies which has gone through the Sharia checks, and they are in that zone which we call the halal businesses. So that's the one way to look at it. So those products are available, and likewise there will be Islamic products which are halal. Like if you're investing in those, it meet all the criteria of halal businesses as well. So Khalid Saab, you want to add anything? Mansoor Saab, if you
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
जी, Assalamu alaikum, Mansoor Saab.
Sorry. Yeah, I just want to say, if you want to talk about halal ISAs, banks like Al Rayan, right, Bank of the Middle East, Bank of England and Middle East, they all offer halal ISAs in which you can put your funds. And they have what they call simple saving accounts, ISA accounts, as well as they got, I think, 100 days saving accounts as well. So that money can be put there. With regard to the normal ISAs, it depends what you're doing with them. If it is ISA that is in stock and shares, as Taimur Sahib you mentioned, right? These can be, you can pick your stocks or go and do the put the money into what they call the Dow Jones Islamic Index or the FTSE Islamic Index, right? That will give you the exposure to Islamic or halal investments, right? And otherwise, yeah, you can speak. I mean, they can speak to me or to Khalid Saab, and we can guide them on as to what criteria can be used in order to put the money into halal investments. Okay.
Yeah, Jazakallah, Mansoor Saab. And I would say so. The link I have shared has the link to Mansoor Saab and Khalid Saab's session as well, which goes in details about Sharia compliant. investment products. So you can watch those sessions as well, recordings of those sessions.
Doug, I'll move on to the next question. Um, this question is about, I'm assuming, guarantor. What advice can you give for a guarantor before signing a contract? If some money has been received as a loan and someone has become a guarantor, borrower is refusing to pay back the loan, what can be done? I guess that's probably in two parts there. Is there anything in general that you would advise someone who's willing to be a guarantor on a contract?
Yeah, the first principle is very much is to write it down, the terms and condition of what gonna be the duration of the loan, how it gonna be paid back, and the guarantor, whenever the guarantor is involved, if it's a family or friend or parents, obviously the trust is involved in that. If it's not a family friend situation, then whenever the guarantor, someone has to become guarantor, there need to be some sort of underwriting in terms of what is the collateral. Collateral mean what asset they are pledging in case they default on their payments. So what uh, asset they can the guarantor can take over in order to recover. It could be a car, for example, someone who is borrowing money and as a part of loan, they say that I pledge the car for that as an asset. If I can't repay payments, then that can be used as thing. So it's going to come down to the terms and condition of the loan written, and that's why it is very, very important to write it down.
Is a student loan a good idea, or is it a debt that can be avoided somehow in an Islamic way?
Excellent question. In short, again, it comes down to intention. If I would again advise you to look at the resource link I have provided and what Hazur Ayyad Allah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz has said about investing and in general, that it comes down to intentions. It's a very fine line. You can obviously seek more Sharia compliant advice on it. I personally, when I came to this country, I have no choice other than to take a bank loan to complete my studies. I could not afford to pay for it. So in that situation, in order to really step ahead in my life, I had to take it. And same is, for example, in a mortgage, a home situation as well. This is the area where it become your needs, which is to me there are good loans and there are bad loans to avoid. So it comes down to individual preference as well, whether you think you can complete your studies without taking loan and use alternate methods. But in UK, for example, if you're a resident, the loan is available for anyone. Or please move to Scotland. If you're living in Scotland for 3 years, you don't have to pay tuition fee.
Um, what do you think of LISA that gives 25% from the government? If we take these out in an emergency, is it a loss?
There are certain very few certain clauses where you can take money out. What happening effectively here? It's kind of a pension. So the only 2 or 3 routes available to get money out of lifetime ISA is, first of all, you're buying your first home. Secondly, you reach to the age of 60, then you can use that money. And thirdly, if someone has a critical illness, they can access that money under those circumstances as well. So other than that, there is no easy route available for that money. So you have to be you should be taking a financial advice and making sure that this is the route you want to take and then understand the pros and cons.
Um, okay, just one that's linked to the guarantor thing again, I guess. If someone is not paying the loan received pledged against the house, what actions can be taken by a guarantor, please?
So first protocol, I would say, either if you know any financial advisor, speak to them or speak to citizen advice Charity, you can Google it, and they will help you and guide you in the right directions. There, what are your venues? Because when that loan has been taken, was it verbal or was there any agreement? Because if there is an agreement, that is become enforceable in some way. You can take it to the sheriff court as well as where all these kind of matters are being looked at in order to enforce it. If there is no written thing, then it is very difficult because there is no proof. You have to provide some sort of proof, maybe bank statement to say the money was moved, and then you have to take case to the bank and say that this is what happened. But first protocol will be to speak citizen advice as well in that case, or a financial advisor.
Jazakallah. I'm minded not to make this very sort of personal, so some of the questions coming in seem a bit more targeted. I think if there are any questions or any support that someone would like, get in touch with the Sanato the Tijarat team, and hopefully we can give you people that can sort of be of support in some cases, and I'm sure the Musab also would be happy to sort of help in some way if needed, if required, rather than sort of
Yeah, so it will be just general
general.
and guidance will be provided, and Sant Tijarat is there. Our whole team is there to help and guide members.
Yeah. Um, sorry, just last few questions. How is interest calculated in general terms, as most of us are unable to understand the long-term implications?
Uh, if I have to give a very short answer, it is based on the whatever the underlying Bank of England rate is. That is one consideration. And in modern financing, the interest rate also mean what is the cost of running business for banks. So for providing that service, so someone is asking for a 10,000 pound a loan, and the bank is saying the interest rate you're going to pay 6%. And out of that 6%, they have to also pay to Bank of England a base rate, which is 4% at the moment, around that. And then the 2% is basically effectively to me is their cost of running business, and they're trying to pay people who are their employed staff as well, and they need to make profit as well. So all of these are the consideration when the interest is made up of, and you can look more deeply into it where it's going, but that is a very short answer. Happy to go more in details at separate occasion.
Yep. Okay, and we'll kind of make this the last question. Um, can we get a car and salary sacrifice scheme with the NHS? I'm sure if you'll be able to sort of shed some light on how salary sacrifice
Can we
works.
get a car?
On the salary sacrifice scheme.
Car.
Yep.
I'm not very close to NHS scheme, but I know in private firms like firm I work for, they do provide employee benefits on salary sacrifice. And yes, pension is very much available as a salary sacrifice or as a benefit across the industry, whether government, semi-government, or private sector. Car financing is a bit new that is coming into the big corporations, and they are providing a way, another attractive benefit to their employees. They can get car, but it's limited to companies' own policies. I'm not sure about NHS.
Jazakallah. Appreciate that, Damal Sab, and appreciate everyone who has joined and filled in the anonymous survey again. Please do join us again next week. But the strategic pillar for next week is empowerment, and inshallah we'll have Bashar Ahmed Bir Sab on to discuss, the vacation of electricians from an education side and a job perspective. So please do join us again at the same time, 7 p.m. and I'm sure there'll be messages that go out sort of closer to the time. Yeah, once again, lastly, Tamusa, I appreciate your time. It's a very engaging talk, and appreciate you taking the questions as well. And inshallah, we'll catch everyone again next week. Jazakallah.
Yeah, Shamsab, that's great. If it's possible, if I can get access to the questions asked in the chat, what I can do is look all of them and provide some answers, and those can be available in a document or some other ways to.
Perfect. Actually, there was a question earlier asking if we can share some of these sort of answers and links in the Tijarat WhatsApp broadcast group. So inshallah, we'll get hold of those.
Yeah, if I get the chance to get the list of questions, I can reply back, or our team can come back.
Yeah, perfect. Imran Sahib, I know you're on the call. Before I close it, do you need to save the questions or?
Jazakallah. I've saved the questions. Jazakallah.
Okay, perfect. Jazakallah.
जी
Jazakallah.
जज़ाकल्लाह इमरान साहब.
I'll close on that. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay जी जज़ाकल्लाह.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh, जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम, अल्लाह हाफिज.
Bisharat Ahmed Sheffield.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.